I discovered internet therapy pioneer Jef Gazley through a YouTube search. Jef has been practicing psychotherapy for over 30 years. He is president of ADDcare.com. He founded Ask the Internet Therapist in 1998. And you can read more about Jef at AskTheInternetTherapist.com or EnergyPsychologyTherapy.com, or simply Google him or click on any of the links attached to this article. I know you've been doing hypnotherapy for, a few decades. How does that manage to get at, get deep in the head and dissolve and resolve trauma in a way that, cognitive behavioral therapy or talk therapy don't?
Well, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is very, very important, and the prefrontal cortex, the objective part of our mind, is a magnificent part of our mind, but it's only 15%. 85% is subconscious in that limbic system and the reptilian brain, and actually in every cell of the body we have a memory link. And the body remembers absolutely everything that has happened to it, which is fascinating. If you have had a trauma, what happens is if you think about the trauma years later, the body will react in a way to mirror the chemistry that it had during that trauma. And so you have to come in to the subconscious and into the body to hit that particular state-dependent learning. Now, luckily, the neat part is it's kind of like having brain damage if it's moderate. What happens is if you start retraining somebody after a small stroke, they relearn what they had before much quicker. So you don't have to, let's say somebody starts smoking pot at 15 and at 32 they stop. Well, it doesn't take them these 17 years to go ahead and come back to where they should be in maturity. It would probably be more like 2 to 5 years. So hypnosis acts as a software program to the subconscious so that that it can begin to change some of the basic assumptions that we've learned. So if you believe that you're not a good enough person, if you change the 15% conscious, but the 85% subconscious still thinks you're a bad person, it will come and get you. You have to come in and talk to the subconscious as well as the conscious to get a deeper change. Hypnosis is looked at as odd and spooky, and what it is just part of being human. There are a number of different brainwave states, and the biggest ones that are known is beta, which is awake, alpha, which is relaxed, theta, which is hypnosis, and delta, which is sleep. We go through all 4 of those states when we wake up and when we go to sleep, but we don't linger. The best way to think of hypnosis is if you're starting to take a nap and you get to a point where you're real relaxed and you feel a drop. At that moment, you probably hit theta. And meditation is right in between theta and alpha.
The fact that we think about the timing of difficult requests with another person suggests that we already acknowledge that there are different states of defenses, really.
Exactly. And I think that everyone has known that on some level. It's just that they don't necessarily, know the brainwave states scientifically.
If somebody were to consider using hypnotherapy to get at some of their adult-child issues, their anxiety, their the self-esteem, the destructive, negative self-esteem, how might they think about that and in the context of control freak and authority figure issues?
What's most important in terms of effectiveness with therapy is how well the rapport is between the client and the therapist. Because what you're doing is trying to provide a safe environment so that you can explore some of the stuck feelings that happened in childhood. And so it's usually best to establish that rapport first, to gain some trust, which is very, very hard for adult children because they desperately wanted to trust their caregivers and did not. And more than that, were often elected to be the caregivers themselves. And so they feel that they can only trust themselves and that they only should rely on themselves. And it's scary to get in touch with all those feelings of dependency that happened years back. So the rapport and also the education about hypnosis, I think, is really important. A hypnotist does not put somebody under hypnosis. You're still very, very much in control with hypnosis. At first, it's very scary. And I have had clients who have gone into hypnosis, and we're just in the basic induction, and which is just let your body relax and breathe easily and breathe deeply. And all of a sudden, they'll burst into tears. They aren't struggling so hard to be in control, and they can feel a little bit overwhelmed by that.
How many sessions does this take? And it's like hair removal. You need 20 sessions, or is it? And also, how pinpointed does the issue have to be? Like, can it be, I'd like to resolve my childhood, or does it need to be, I'd like to resolve the time my dad, drove recklessly in the car and scared me out of my wits?
So if it's a specific issue like that, 1 to 3 sessions would be sufficient. If it's more global, if it's more general, then you would need many more sessions. And the way that I would think about it, if you remember the game Minesweeper, a Microsoft game,
yes,
it had a checkerboard, and if you clicked on one particular square, it would open up, and if you hit on another one, 10 would open up.
Yeah.
And that is very, very similar with the subconscious. The body remembers absolutely everything. And so you can use a discipline called applied kinesiology. Let's say that I'm working on somebody who says they want to quit smoking. Well, I'm going to have their arm hold it up and have the person say, I want to quit smoking. And then I'm going to push gently on the arm. If it stays strong, it means they're congruent with that thought. If it weakens, they're incongruent. But I'm also going to say, I don't want to quit smoking. I'm going to have them say that one. And very often, both of them are strong, which means the conscious mind wants to stop, and the subconscious mind doesn't. Well, I wanted to get that subconscious mind in line with the conscious mind before I start working on really anything else with smoking. And I can do that with energy psychology. So it's a lot quicker, a lot simpler than hypnosis, and the person is totally awake, totally in control, and therefore it doesn't hit some of the issues that hypnosis could for some adult children.
Yeah, that is just great. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. It's a real treat, and for sharing all this great information with my readers. I appreciate it.
Thank you much. Take care.
You too.